Hey YouTubers, welcome back to the channel. Mopar Man 1978 here. I'm out here on my day off, Friday, out messing around with my mom. She's driving the truck. Say hi, Mom.
Hi.
I just got back from visited a guy in Sparta, Missouri. I've been looking for a Offenhauser dual one-barrel aluminum intake for a slant 6 for quite some time, and people out there have just gotten insane on the prices for these intakes. Even used, people were trying to get an arm and a leg and maybe a left nut for them. One guy was wanting $600 and some plus shipping. Another guy was wanting $500 and some plus shipping. And most of these people were from out of state. So you can't tell, since they're on Facebook, you didn't know if they were scammers or not. I think the one guy had tried to sell me one for $275. He was clear in Florida, but first he was all like that he wanted to know if I had Apple Pay, which a lot of people don't know. Scammers like to scam you out of money on Apple Pay, but so do they on PayPal. So you just and then there was a whole story where I told him I didn't do that, I only do PayPal, and then he came back and said, well, he don't have PayPal, but I can send the money to his cousin that does have a PayPal account. And I looked at his profile, and I just didn't feel right, so I didn't go there. And then I took the advice from one of my buddies, and I went ahead and went on to Facebook Marketplace locally, or even statewide, and posted like I had a part for sale, but I didn't put anything. I just took a picture of an Offenhauser slant 6 dual one-barrel intake and said put $1 in the deal, because you got to put something in that little space, and then in the description I put bold print wanted, looking for a good used Offenhauser slant 6 dual one-barrel intake. I do believe God works in mysterious ways. I felt this was divine intervention. The guy was going to he told me, because we got a swap meet, and I'm going to be doing a video on that next week on Friday because I'm off. One of the biggest car and car parts swap meets at Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri. Because today's Friday, so it's going to be next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But anyway, he said he was going to take this intake to the swap meet and sell it, because he had a bunch of other car parts. He's mostly a Ford guy, but so he sold it to me for $275. Didn't have the carburetors or the linkage, which I don't care. I've got my own carburetors and make my own linkage and stuff, but here it is, sitting in my lap. We just came from his place. Jim, if you're watching, appreciate it again. Been looking for one of these for high and low for quite some time. But anyway, we'll see you at the swap meet next week. And but yeah, and by the way, I don't always include my mom in these videos, but when I do, you guys don't know, she's way before I was born. She was raised. She came off of a farm in Iowa. She's raised around vehicles and tractors, and she's a big fan of Alice Chalmers tractors. She's a big fan of Mopar muscle, and just all around hot rods, rat rods. So, and she gave birth to me. So yeah, she's a big part of my life, and I don't have a problem with her tagging along. And I guess if that makes me, I'm not what you would say what the definition of a mama's boy is, but if somebody wants to call me a mama's boy, like somebody has, I'm not going to go into that part, but they watch my videos, so if I'm going to continue to do my videos and stuff, if I want my mom wants to be, she's going to be in my videos, so people just have to deal with it. There's a lot of other YouTubers that still have their family members in their videos, just like Jed Scott from Scott's Speed Shop. He has his dad in there all the time. He has his mom once in a while, his brothers, his girlfriend. And it's people just need to get over that. I don't know if people have got issues of their own or what, but I'm definitely not, by the true definition, I'm not a mama's boy. But if somebody wants to troll me and say that I am, okay, so then be it. But anyway, that's. I just wanted to say something about that, but you know, just sticks and stones sort of thing. But anyway, I got more updates coming. Now I got an issue with the pickup truck. Seems to be overheating. Today, when I get back home, I'm going to be changing out the thermostat and flushing the system to see if that takes care of the problem. Also, somebody in the comments, especially if you watch Uncle Tony's live, you know you can't always post everything you're trying to say in one little thing because it only gives you so much room to comment unless you make multiple comments. Well, it's got a new radiator cap, new water pump, everything. And the other thing that's weird, I went back through because it was missing and it was running like crap. Besides, on the gauge it seemed like it was fine. It never went over, it's never been up past the halfway mark on the temperature gauge. And I'll probably get a new temperature gauge just to be on the safe side. But the weird thing is the other day, shut the truck off at the house, let it cool off, came back out, took one spark plug out at a time, because something told me to do that. You know, I don't know if it was necessarily my gut or just something spiritual, you know. Started with one spark plug, and you guys know I'm very particular about when I take spark plugs out and put them back in. I always make sure they're properly gapped. If they come out of the box brand new, that's the first thing I check is the gaps, and I don't buy crappy plugs. So it's been a while, and then once this truck started overheating and acting up and running like crap, first I thought it was a carburetor. We checked the carburetor, nothing wrong there. Checked the distributor, all that stuff. I did find somehow, which I thought was odd, that the vacuum tube that goes to the vacuum vents to my carburetor had been pulled off from the carburetor. That seemed kind of suspicious because I don't remember messing with that. And then when I started taking each spark plug out one at a time, checking the gaps, most of them had the gaps that I had set before. A couple of them had the gaps that were a little bit less than normal, because most Mopar spark plugs you're supposed to set it at 0.035, but because I have a high output coil and HEI ignition, I can run mine all the way up to 45 or 50, 0.050 gap on the plugs, and some of them were at 35 or a little less. And then the two that I took out on opposite sides of the engine, the electrodes, the hook, what I call the hook over the top of the spark plug, I don't know what the proper term of it is. Anyway, that was pushed completely down on top of the other electrode that comes up through the ceramic on the tower on the spark plug. I have never seen that before, unless for some strange reason it got so hot that metal got soft and it slowly closed the gap on itself. I don't know. Or maybe it was a freak of manufacturing that metal was weak after it got hot and it keeps distorting. So I re-gapped them all. Truck ran fine until yesterday after I got back home from work, and it heated back up. It would start acting like it was cutting out and struggling, and I hadn't got a chance to take the spark plugs back off yet, but I'm going to recheck them 2 plugs again, and I'm going to check the rest of them just to make sure. But if I got that problem again, I've either got 2 faulty spark plugs, because I use NGKs and I've never had any problems with NGKs unless the quality has just gone downhill overnight. But or I've got a crack that has developed in one or both of the heads, or it's a head gasket issue. But what's weird is it's not blowing white smoke out the exhaust pipes, and I've got a really short exhaust system on my truck. No white smoke. I don't got no leaks around the exhaust manifolds, because I got a couple of the studs I've had to drill out and tap, and they go right into the water jacket of the head. I use that special Victor Wren sealant on those threads, and they're not leaking at all, and I torqued them down to specs. So it's got to be, like I said, I'll do a follow-up, drain all the coolant out, replace the thermostat, flush out the system. I'm going to flush out the system with water real good, back flush the radiator because it's an aftermarket radiator, and then what I'll do is I'll pour in about 2 or 3 jugs of that commercial grade white vinegar from Menards, and fill it up with some water and let that run through the system and get nice and hot, so it cleans out all around the water jackets and any rust or corrosion or anything like that inside the block and whatnot. Clean, and then reflush it again, and then put all that back together. And if it still starts to overheat, because it's not the clutch fan, I rechecked the clutch fan, it's fine. If it's still an issue, then I know I've got a head gasket or gaskets, or a cracked head or heads issues. So that's fine anyway. I got them heads coming back at some point or another from the machine shop, and I'll use a better quality head gasket from Felpro, the performance ones, or I'll use the Cometic brand ones. But anyway, rambled on long enough. But anyway, glad to get this intake, and I can start doing the mods. And like when I go to that swap meet, there's a guy there that sells nothing but vintage carburetors. That's all he sells is especially Mopar carburetors, 1 barrels, 2 barrels, 4 barrels, stuff like that. And I'll see if I can't try to pick up maybe a couple of non-smog era Carter 2-barrel carburetors for this intake. Because I want to run 2 barrel carburetors on this instead of 1 barrels. But until next time, hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the swap meet video coming up next week. Bye.